What is going on, guys? It is Noza with another video. Today, as you can tell in both the title and the thumbnail, we're talking about why Strive is a hard game. Now, I did leave out a little piece of information there, and admittedly, that's on me. That's on me. And what I mean to say, or to be more clear and precise, is that I believe that Strive is in fact a difficult game to be consistent in. Okay, so before we get straight into the content, you gotta know if you guys could drop me a like, if you enjoy the content, subscribe and put on a notification bell. I try to drop one at least once or twice a week. We really trying to get up there. With that being said, let's get straight into it. So the reason why I feel like Strive is a difficult game to be consistent is because the game has a lot of things that allow you to kind of YOLO in. And when I mean YOLO, I mean like just go straight in on offense and not really focus on the defensive aspect of it. So a lot of the time what we find is that a lot of players end up focusing on how they can improve their mix-up, how they can improve their block strings, how they can get in quicker, right, as opposed to learning how to play defensive against certain characters or how to operate around certain characters, the offense, right? And this creates a little issue between the normal player versus the actual pros, right? Because the pros are even in fact indulging in this ideology where they focus so much on offense and not so much on defense, so that when they're forced to block, then they not the strongest player. You see, we're not trying to insult nobody. Not the strongest player. Okay, so that's kind of where I stand on with that. I do believe there are certain players that are able to maximize their defensive play in order to get out of situations in kind of like a more consistent manner, instead of just FD IAD out and hope he doesn't air throw me. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of characters try to optimize how they put you in the corner. Like let's talk about Jacko for a second, right? If when Jacko has you in the corner and the Jacko player has meter, you already know they're gonna do drop minion, kick minion into cheer super, and then from there they just keep looping it and keep looping it until your risk builds up, and then you kind of have to guess between a 2D or a 5D, right? And either way, because the risk is built up so much, you kind of have to explode. And instead of learning other ways to get out the corner, because obviously when Jacko gets in the corner it's a little bit difficult for her, when you see those situations come up, you also see the Jacko player completely get rocked a lot of the time outside of FD IAD out the corner, right? And I see that FD IAD out the corner is a very an overused option, to say the least. That's what I'll go with, an overused option. You very rarely see people try to optimize FDs and optimize IBFDs in particular. Although I do admit IBs are difficult to pull off, but there are some players who have learned to master it and do it pretty consistently. I'd say one of the best people for this would be KV. Believe he actually made a video on how IB actually works and how to get it in situations. Ramala also made a video on that as well. Although there are arguments against the idea that Strive is a difficult game, I would be more interested to know how certain players are able to be consistent despite this fact, right? There are characters that are very strong in their offense, and because of that it makes it very difficult to be consistent with anything outside of the top tier, which is why we see the top tier played so often, because they're able to mitigate the amount of shenanigans, let's call it shenanigans, that happens in the game when you're blocking, right? So the top tiers mitigate how much you receive of that. So I believe that learning how to deal with such things is what makes this game difficult to be consistent in. Consistency meaning that you're able to execute things on a consistent basis, and the ideology that when you're put in the corner, once you spot something, you have a counterplay, you understand what the opponent is trying to do, you understand the counterplay, and it's expanded further than FD ID out the corner. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I draw the line, I guess. There are some things that are easy about the game. I'm not gonna say like the game is completely one of the hardest games ever made, right? However, with that being said, trying to claim that this game is easy simply because big damage is not enough for me. And I do understand the big damage aspect is huge, but then there is also a mental stack aspect of it. And if you believe that the mental stack is one-dimensional, I can somewhat agree with that, but at the same time, there are characters that really expand on what you can do with the character aside from just big damage, and learning about what those characters can do and how to mitigate what they like to do, and understanding that, okay, you know what, I may have to guess, but I can at least show him that I understand these things, so that they have to understand me at a higher level than they are currently. And that's all I'm trying to incite, I guess, just a little bit of thought in regards to that. Let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed the video, again, like, subscribe. I'm out. Peace, guys.